And then once you get it out that little bit, then you can get anything on it and just pull the pin straight out. Hello folks, and welcome to Netcruzer RC. In this video I want to talk about my EB410 race buggy and a couple of upgrades I want to do to the car before it's race day. I've been racing my EB410 for a couple of weeks now, and it's been great. I have not broken any part. It's starting to show a little bit of wear. You know, I did clean it up a little bit today, but the chassis protector's working out well. Some of it's starting to chip off, and I've got like a weird got a bit of a weird bend in my wing, but no cracks in the wing or anything. Everything's holding up quite well. But there are a couple of things that I need to change to improve the handling and to make it a bit better. It's a little bit pushy in the front, and I didn't like how it was steering. Box stock setup, except for I have the wrong offset front tires. These are PR Racing, but I've also tried Schumacher, and they're a little bit wider on the front than the rear. It's hard to get a good perspective of it, but point is, if you want to get proper offset wheels, you need to run Team Losi Racing. 22.4 front wheels are the proper offset. So I'm going to be building out the new set of wheels. I got the same tires and foams that I got on here. A bit of a shame that I'm going to have to replace these wheels immediately. They only have 2 weeks worth of running on them. They're practically brand new, but the offset does seem to be causing a little bit of a problem. I got a comment on my last EB410 video from someone who works at Tekno, and they said, put on the proper front offset tires, I bet you'll notice a huge difference. So that's what's going to happen here. I'm going to build out a proper set of front offset tires. I'll measure the track width as it is right now, and then I'll measure it after I build those, and we'll see how much of a difference that makes. The next thing is regarding the shocks. And the shocks on the EB410 are a nice design, but the shock caps, I'm sorry if anyone from Tekno is watching, but these shock caps are just awful. Everyone I've talked to that's built this car does not like these shock caps. They were the hardest caps I've ever had putting on. They don't thread in nice. They're made of a really, really soft material that makes them very hard to thread on. So I am going to be going to the aluminums, and man, what a pricey upgrade that was. $22.99 Canadian each for 2. So you got to buy a full, this is just for caps, so you're looking at like almost $50 for caps, and then the screws. I'm not entirely sure if I did need to buy the different style of screws. I thought that I did. According to the Tekno website, you do need these cap heads type screws, but I think that if I take out the emulsion screw that's already in here, it'll be the exact same. The other thing is I'm going to build out the bottom of the shock cartridge with the MIP upgrade. That is the MIP shock cartridge spacer kit, because there is a design flaw, I would say, with the way that these Teknos are built, that they have 2 O-rings which sandwich up against each other, and they compress, and they basically turn it into an air pump and pump air into your shock, which is why they want you to bleed them so often. That can be alleviated with this MIP upgrade kit. And the last thing is a rear titanium captured hinge pin. This is an expensive way to do it. There is other ways, but what this upgrade is for, and it has happened to me once. I'll show you a picture of what happens. If you get in a really bad tumble, the rear pin that holds on your rear carrier to the A-arm is not captured, and the A-arms have so much flex, the pin can pop out and your wheel can basically be dangling off. This makes it so it's actually lock nutted to the A-arm, and it cannot do that. That's something that you don't want to have happen in a race, is have your wheel come flying off, which has happened to me in a bad cartwheel crash. Actually, likely one of the first things I'm going to do is build my tires. So I'm going to open up this pack of tires and I'm going to wash the rubber with soap and water, like a good Dawn detergent. Something I did forget to do on building these was I didn't wash them first, and I've been having a very hard time with the glue sticking or coming unglued from the rims. So definitely something that I missed. It's a bit of a rookie mistake, is you always want to wash your rubber first, because these come with the release agent on them still from when they were manufactured, so you definitely want to clean that off first before you try and glue them. Now if you're new to building tires, you may look at these foams and think, holy cow, look at the size of that foam. How is that ever going to fit into these? Maybe thinking, how is that foam going to fit into this wheel? It is surprising, but it is done. And how I do it, I fold them like this, and then you put it in your wheel, Then you just start working it around, and it will eventually fit. I'll show it to you after, once I get the wheels washed. But first thing, I gotta go wash these because I don't want to make that same mistake again. All right, I've now washed my wheels and tires, and man, the water turned black. Well, that's good. That's letting those dry now. And while I'm letting those dry, I'm just working on the shock upgrade. So I've got one shock off. The shock cups are actually screwed in, so you have to undo the grub screw before you can pull that off. And the reason why I have to pull that off is so that I can hold on to the shock body down here at the bottom under the spring to unthread the cap. So if you want to get the cap off effectively, you have to take your bottom cup off and your spring off, and then you can get on here and then unscrew the cap. Ooh, I was trying to capture the screw because I was afraid it would go flying off. It still did anyway. Here it is. It's just a really long grub. And then you can pop your spring off, and then now I will be able to hold on to that, unscrew the cap. I'll do the caps first, and then if I unscrew this, then I'll be able to unscrew this cartridge area, slip it off while keeping it all upside down, and then fit it all back over. I'm using the Tekno, this is a fancy Tekno shock tool to hold on to the bottom of the shock body so I can unscrew the cap. And another trick for that is, if you can't do it by hand, put something through and then you can get the leverage to unscrew it, just like that. And once it's going, now you can get it off yourself. This is going to be just set aside as like a spare, likely not going to use it anymore. I'm going to extract the emulsion because I do need it. Yeah, it is the exact same. So yeah, I did not need to buy TKR 1248 because it is the exact same screw. And the reason why I'm reusing this one is because it already has the O-ring on it. It's hard, might be hard to see, but it has an O-ring on it. That's going to go into these new caps and then thread that onto the body. Yeah, much nicer. I think what I'll do is I'm just going to screw on the aluminum cap first. Why not? The oil still looks quite clean and good, and I'll be able to bleed it properly. Let's see how well this goes on. A trick for getting on shock caps is you go backwards until you can feel it catch. Right there is where the threads start, and then go forward. It's a feel thing. You go backwards until you feel the threads catch, and then go forward. Oh yeah, these are a million times better than the plastic junk. Really, the kit should have cost $20 to $30 more and come with aluminum caps. Please, Tekno, if you're going to make a revision to the EB410, include the metal caps. Put the screw in. You're supposed to pump them up and down like 20 times. Is it fully extended? Loosen it out, and then you bleed it. Wait for the air to escape, and then put your screw in. And then if done correctly, there should be almost no rebound. Yep, no rebound. So you can set your rebound accordingly, however you want it. Regarding this MIP part, I didn't get any instructions with it. So I did look up the instructions ahead of time, so I do have this picture. This is what should have came in with the package, but I guess I got like an early print one. This is how it works. So you're adding in the spacer in the middle, because normally they don't have that spacer, and you're replacing the bottom one. And in order to do that, I am going to have to take the bottom of this off. I'm going to use the shock tool. I'm going to hold on to the shaft, and then I'm just going to unscrew. And I'm going to take this off. I would have to do this no matter what way I do it. I don't think you could do it any other way, unless I'm missing something. With that done, now I can unscrew this, the whole cartridge assembly. It's a little dirty in there. I'm going to clean that off. Now I have to figure out how am I going to get that out of there. I just used my fingernails to pull it up and out. So I'm going to take this part off. I think I'm replacing this part entirely because this one's extra thick and the new one is shallower. I need to get those O-rings up and out of there without damaging them. Oh, there we go. I just pushed it down enough where it slipped up onto the threads, and now I can remove these. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove one, then I can put the spacer in between, and then I can put the new end cap on and put it back. Come on, I have to get it up off these threads carefully. You don't want to do too much damage to that ring. Now you're putting this little spacer in between, and now back with this. Back through. That's it. And now this goes into the cartridge area Okay, and now I need my new little cap. And I have to think about which way does it go. So the small side faces the bottom of the shock. And now I'm putting that back over. And that's the cartridge area upgraded with MIP. And then you put the cap back on. Don't hold on to it with your tool. And tighten that down. Alright, and now I definitely need to rebleed. I also need to throw my end link back on again. So use the tool. Again, the tool is invaluable for this. You want to thread your end cap back on. Okay, I think that's it. Bottomed out the threads. And now I need to rebleed it. So we're going to do the pump a bunch of air in, although it's got a bunch of air in it already. The shaft down. Then you undo the emulsion screw. Pump it up. You can hear the air escape. If anything dribbles out, clean it off, but I've got no dribbles. Put the screw back in. Yeah, that feels better already. Now I just got to put the shock spring back on. Again, you want to put the paint to the top so you don't chip off the paint. And then put the little spring cup back on, and then put your grub screw in place. And it's a 1.5 millimeter. Go! One shock upgraded. I'll do all the rest of them now. One other item is getting this lined up is not the easiest because it does go in between the A-arm. I found that it's easiest to try and get it, look through, make sure the hole's aligned, use a small Allen wrench to get it aligned, and then put this in. And also remember that the silver one is reverse thread. And there we go. I've kind of changed my mind about having the emulsion screw on the top outside for the front, just because it does look like it's really exposed. So I am going to flip this around and put it as the book shows, which is to the inside. Alright, all the shocks are done. Aluminum caps and the MIP spacer kit is complete. They feel better. They feel more consistent, where you don't hear them, I don't know, they still squeak a little bit, but they feel like they're not sucking in air every compression and rebound, so that's good. Next step, I want to put on the captured rear hinge pin. So undo this screw, pop the pin out. Yeah, on this end it can't go through that way, so you have to figure out a way. How am I going to get that out of there now? Or oh yeah, it's got a little set screw down at the bottom. Don't forget to undo the set screw. Once you take out this center grub enough where it's not grabbing on the bar, I find that it's easier to take something like a body clip and then push. And there you go. And that's enough to move that where I will be able to get a grip on it. And then once you get it out that little bit, then you can get anything on it and just pull the pin straight out. And I'll be replacing this and this screw entirely with a captured screw and a nut. One quick thing about this kit is that you do have to ream out the end of the arm. So use a 3mm drill bit or arm reamer, which I do have a 3mm reamer, to enlarge the hole. Because as I showed, this end is closed. So I'm going to ream through and open up that hole bigger to 3mm so I can put the screw all the way through. That out of the way. I don't think that's going to do it because that's not sharp enough on the end. So I'm going to try and use this to open it up. Just that little bit. Oh, circle. There it goes. Okay. There. 3mm. So yeah, use a body reamer. Just open it up a little bit. And then if you've got an actual reamer to make it 3mm perfectly, that would be ideal. So I show the nut going onto this side, and that's what we'll do. That's that. That's just so that it can't pop out, which you would think that, wow, it can pop out without breaking the arm? Yeah, it's true. It happened to me. It really did. I was surprised. This little set screw thing is completely redundant now. Do it anyway. Overbuilt, but that's good. That's a good thing. So that will never come out again. If it comes out, it's because the arm's broken. Cool. Just check to make sure that it doesn't bind up or anything. Good. All right, I'll do the other side and then that's done. Alright guys, it's now time to finish the wheels. I've got all the other upgrades done. Got the shock caps on, I got the MIP shock space, I've got the rear captured hinge pin, and now it's time to fix the front track width. TLR 22-4 wheels, and yeah, it's time to build some tires. So I washed these, and now getting the foams in is a bit of a pain, and anyway, just fold them up like that. This is how I do it. I mean, I don't know if there's a better way, but this is how I do it. You can get that in there. Just start working your way to get the tire filled. It's much easier when you're working with super soft rubber. But yeah, that looks ridiculous, right? That's the front wheels. But they need to become much smaller. And they do once you get them kind of bead locked in around the rim. So yeah, that's how that works. And I mean, there's some ideas of how you can stop the foam from slipping. Also, depending on your track, you might want to go to closed cell foam. I'm just using the open cell foam that came with the kit. I like to have the green dot facing the inside of the tire, but that's totally up to you, depending on how you want your sidewalls to work. And then you just kind of fit your tire in, or you just kind of work your way around. You want to make sure you get that bead in all the way and you're not pinched in the foam. And then the same for this one. You just kind of fold it over and around. And then you just work it in. And the majority of it is now done. I'll glue them in, and then I'll come back to you when it's time to fit them and see what the offset looks like. Alright, here we go. It's time to find out what is the track width with the wheels I'm using now. So I'm going to go outside to outside. We've got 10, just under 10 centimeters. No, just under 10 inches, 25.5 centimeters. Now I'll bolt these ones on and we'll see what that looks like. Just look at the difference here on the hub carrier. See how it looks like it's going to be a few centimeters at least. That's the old PR Racing or Schumacher wheel versus here's the TLR. Look, it's almost completely up to the turnbuckle is right to the inside of the wheel versus the turnbuckle is quite a bit out. Alright, let's put the other wheel on and we'll see what that looks like. Wow guys, it is a significant change putting the proper TLR wheels on. Track width is now 9.5 inches or 24 millimeters versus before we were at 25.5 millimeters or 10 inches. So yeah, look at the difference. Before we were out to 10. So you're looking at a ½ an inch and shorter wheelbase, and the car looks quite a bit more aligned. I'm hoping that this will give me the front steering that I want. So looking forward to that. Alright guys, hopefully that was manageable. I showed you a lot of stuff. Hopefully this wasn't too long of a video. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this or that was helpful, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. If you want to buy something, I put links in the description for everything that I showed. And as always, thanks for watching.